what is it that your company like specializes in?
Yeah, so what we specialize is in nicotine replacement therapy,
Yeah,
which includes nicotine vaping products.
yeah,
So we ensure that patients have tried first-line treatments such as, Chempex or
yeah,
gums, lozenges,
yeah,
sprays.
yeah,
So before we can even actually just look at them as a patient or assess them as a patient, we have to ensure that they have tried those first-line methods and it's failed.
mm-hmm.
And it has, nicotine vaping is a tool that will help patients to cease or wean off the nicotine
Yeah.
addiction.
Well, in theory,
Yeah,
that's the idea.
exactly. Yeah,
But likewise with what's it called, like champagne, like the patches and or the sprays or anything like that. I guess the reality is you're still ingesting or in some way getting nicotine. So whether or not you're actually going to wean off it, it's a lovely idea. But
exactly. Yeah.
whether or not that works in practice,
Yeah.
I think would be up to the individual. Do you,
Yes.
like that? That'd be fair to say.
For
Like
sure. Yeah.
I think it'd be a bit of a bold statement for government or anyone to say like, this is what this does.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The only reason why those products are first-line treatments because they have been approved and assessed for safety and
Yeah,
efficacy
yeah,
in terms of helping people reduce and wean off the nicotine.
right.
So they are proper approved products, whereas nicotine vaping products are unapproved
Yeah,
medicines, you would say.
yeah, sure. And unapproved here in Australia, but approved in many other countries.
They wouldn't be approved, but they will be more available to the general public
Yeah.
without a prescription. So
Yeah, right.
it's becomes a over-the-counter
Yeah,
product.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Whereas here it's not completely a black market, but there is no shortage of a black market.
Look, the black market is huge, as we all aware. We can see that every week there's news about it. Kids having it at schools, in the bathrooms.
Yeah,
You see it on the streets,
Yeah.
the wrapping,
yeah.
the actual device.
Yeah.
It's causing
Especially
a lot of-
those disposable vapes, like what I'm using right now. It's a nicotine disposable vape.
Yeah,
That is part of a black market here in Australia.
and it's thriving. Yeah,
It's huge.
Yeah.
It is absolutely huge market. But my view on it, and I might be jumping the gun here, but my view on it is that it's a black market that the government has created by making nicotine vaping so sort of difficult. It's not easy for people to obtain.
Yeah.
And well, sorry, let me rephrase that. It's not necessarily that it's not easy for them to obtain. It's not easy for them to even know that it's a thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the government hasn't exactly gone out of their way to say, "Hey, smokers, here's an option," because they don't want people to stop smoking. That's my view on it.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. They don't want to people stop smoking because they can't collect the $17 billion
It's
worth of
huge
tax
revenue.
So it's the second biggest amount of revenue tax collection in Australia.
What's the first? Gambling,
First would be mining.
mining. Okay,
Yes,
yeah, right.
So second would be tobacco taxes. Yeah,
See, there you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, hey? It's a lot of money.
it's huge. But the government thinks short term. So if they think long term, actually helping people
Yeah,
and reducing the impacts of the impacts of the health system,
yeah,
then long term they will benefit.
yeah.
But I don't think that. They think short term.
Exactly.
How do we collect the most amount of taxes
Today.
now?
Yeah, exactly. And so obviously within your industry, you would have had to have done a lot of due diligence, a lot of looking into it, a lot of research and God knows what else. So in your opinion, is vaping nicotine safer than smoking cigarettes?
Definitely. I mean, we know from the studies coming out of the UK and also the New Zealand government.
Yeah.
The New Zealand and UK government actually set up pro-vaping departments to
Yes.
actually help
Yes.
people transition from smoking to vaping, and it is proven to be 95% less harmful than
Yeah.
the smoking.
So why is it that, and I know you're not a politician, but you're in that space.
Yep.
Why is it that you think, other than what we just spoke about to do with the money side of things, why is it that you think that the Australian government are so sort of hesitant, or is it that they're just turning a blind eye, just burying their head in the sand and hoping it goes away, or why is it that New Zealand is just across the ditch and they're viewing it so differently from us?
I think initially the reason why the government implemented the prescription model was to reduce teen and youth vaping.
Yeah.
I think that was the goal at the beginning, but it's
Yeah.
turned out to be a mess.
Yeah.
And it's turned out, accessing nicotine vaping product is actually, harder than
Yeah.
getting a pack of, 10 times harder than getting a packet of smokes
Well,
from the
exactly.
corner store.
That's right. That's the thing that I find so bizarre about it, and I would imagine that you do too. We could leave here right now, go to, a supermarket or a petrol station or tobacconist or whatever, buy as many cigarettes as our debit cards will allow.
Yeah.
No questions asked, as long as you're over 18. Yet, if you want to vape instead of smoking and have nicotine in that, you either have to A, buy it illegally, which is what the vast majority do, or B, you have to go through the rigmarole of getting a script. Don't get me wrong, I think it's great that people can go to the likes of you to get scripts. I just think that it's a bizarre situation that even exists.
Exactly. So, look, it's made it hard for people who are genuinely want to try to quit smoking
Yeah,
to access these products.
yeah,
Whereas it should be, over-the-counter product that you can go to a specialist vape store,
Yeah.
talk and consult
mm,
with the guys that are actually on the ground and being able to give advice
yeah.
to where to start.
Yeah, I would say that it would be more yourself, because if you hadn't found that niche, found that hole that existed, quite a large hole, and then organised the company that you have, it would be very well. I don't. It would probably still just be illegal for people to vape nicotine, but look, it's a very interesting topic, but and it's got 1,000,001 different avenues or different pathways and so many different opinions around it. Ours are pretty obvious. Do you encounter much sort of hate for what you do?
No, I wouldn't say so, because most of the patients that come to us most of the patients actually didn't even know that nicotine vaping products were illegal.
Yeah.
They didn't know that it was up. So it was in October last year, 21.
Yeah, a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so the scheduling was upgraded to S4 prescription only medicine, and that's when it became illegal for people to possess any nicotine without a script.
Without a script, yeah.
So I think there was more support from people actually saying, "Hey, thanks for setting up this business to actually help us access nicotine vaping products,
Sure.
either locally or being able to import it legally from overseas."
I'm sure that that's the case in terms of for your customers, your clients, and what have you. But I mean in terms of like in the public, do you sort of cop people? I don't know, just in whatever way, trying to claim that you're, what you're involved in is not good and that it should be illegal, because there are a lot of people that, funnily enough, none of them have ever smoked before or vaped before, but they've got the strongest opinions on how bad it apparently is.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering whether or not you cop much of that.
Yes, okay. From my perspective, I don't really see much of that,
Yeah.
but I understand where you're coming from. The perception is as well that people don't know that vaping is less harmful than smoking as an alternative. But if people didn't know that, they'll probably think that vaping is probably just as harmful as smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
And haven't really got negative feedback in that sense.
Oh,
Not as much as
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And I guess my argument has always been that even if vaping is just as harmful as smoking, which I definitely don't think that it is, but worst case scenario, it was just as harmful as smoking, what's a hell of a lot cheaper? So therefore, to me, to my back pocket, it is a better alternative.
Yeah.
And I've always said to people, vaping isn't an alternative to breathing fresh air. Vaping is an alternative to smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, and it's amazing though the amount of hate that I've copped from smokers.
Yeah.
Smokers, I seem to cop the most amount of hate from, which I find weird. But I think also it's through lack of education.
Yes.
But the government aren't supportive of that education. In fact, if anything, they are sort of damaging of that education. You try and put out anything positive, including this podcast when it comes out, they're not going to like it.
Yeah, for sure. The Queensland government actually just put a new campaign out, and they hired a doctor that is pretty famous, Dr. Cow.
I can't say that I know.
Yeah, so he's pretty famous in
Okay.
the medical field,
Yeah.
medical space. So I think they've paid him a lot of money to actually put like misinformation
A
out
negative
about
spin.
vaping.
See, and there you go. So,
so
but it's all back down to that dollar, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So if you just Google, Queensland Health vaping,
Yeah.
it's all anti.
It's all
big time.
negative.
It's
Oh, shit,
all
yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
Negative publicity. There.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like we don't know what's in vape. It's
Yeah.
just as bad.
Yeah. Well, we do actually know what's in vape. We don't know what's in these cheap things, but in terms of normal vapes, we know it's PG, VG, flavouring, and then nicotine if you add it in.
Yep.
What we don't know is what's in cigarettes. There's all sorts of nasty
Over
shit in
7,000
cigarettes.
chemicals
Exactly.
in cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about the motivation for smokers to actually switch to vaping
Yeah.
before. I think I think initially the number one motivator is probably to save a bit of money
Yes.
at the beginning, and I
Definitely.
think probably number two, the outcome of that saving money is actually something better for your health.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's why. But I think the number one motivator why people come to us initially is
Yes.
firstly is to save some money because cigarettes are so expensive.
That's so expensive now. So expensive.
It's nearly like $2 a cigarette.
Yeah. Yeah. Gone are the days when you can just go to the pub and bum a ciggy off someone. That's not happening anymore. Yeah. But again, the government have brought that on themselves. They've got this insane cigarette tax, tobacco tax, that isn't going anywhere. Like, it's just going to keep going up and up and up until I don't know what they're trying to do, because it's not the cigarettes that go back on the shelf. It's the Wheat Bix that goes back on the shelf.
Yeah.
It's the packet of mints that goes back on the shelf. The cigarette, if you're addicted to nicotine and you've got a bad addiction, it's worse than heroin.
That's right.
Like it scientifically, it is worse than heroin to be addicted to. And sorry, you can
It's the
OD
nicotine,
from heroin,
it's the
but like in
nicotine,
terms of it's more addictive and what have you.
Yeah.
But it's the sausages, it's the Wheat Bix, it's the nappies, it's all that shit that
It's
goes
the
back on the shelf.
education. It's the health, your own health that you neglect because you have a nicotine addiction.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's an interesting old topic. How long have you been in that space?
We started October when the laws first came in, so about a year's time.
A year
12
ago.
months, a year ago.
Yeah, right.
So what I saw was a gap in the market in terms of the telehealth space for providing this niche consultation. I mean, GPs don't want to prescribe it. They don't know what it is. They don't know how to prescribe.
Yeah.
Most of them are not authorised prescribers. So currently there's about 1,200 authorised prescribers in Australia.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to go to your GP and say, hey, look, doctor, can you help me out with another second line treatment to help me control my nicotine cravings?
Yeah, right. They'll tell you they'll give you the quit help book and tell you to buy Champex.
Exactly. Most of them will do that. A lot of them will say, look, I can't help you any more than this.
Yeah.
go seek help elsewhere.
Right. So how did you? I mean, I understand that you saw that there was a gap in the market, but it's one thing to see a gap; it's another thing to then be able to fill it. So how did you sort of actually go from being Kevin, the guy that saw the gap, and then Kevin, the guy that correct me if I'm wrong, but you have the first license
Yeah.
in Australia?
Yeah, we were the first one to have the nicotine importation license.
That's crazy.
So we were approved to import nicotine, from Queensland Health,
Yeah.
being able to bypass customs. Get approval from customs and import products into Australia. So as long as it complies with
sure.
the TGA guidelines.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, they're not just going to give it to you and then go, it's all
Just
good.
get
Do
anything
whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure there are plenty of guidelines.
Yeah.
But so how did that journey sort of unfold? Like, I just find it. I mean, you've got to be an entrepreneur to just see that and then manifest it, make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me sounds really like it'd be really fascinating, but
Yeah, look,
Yeah.
it wasn't an easy journey. I guess I had to learn everything about the medical space,
yeah,
and also being able to use technologies such as telehealth platforms to be able to prescribe products,
yeah,
and also being able to work with pharmacies to be able to dispense and ship products around Australia legally.
right,
So it's amazing, like seeing patients getting a script and being able to fulfill the order and then get it in their mailbox the next day,
yeah,
which
Yeah.
will help, which help people, quit quicker.
oh yeah,
Yeah, because when you want to quit, you want to quit now.
yeah,
You don't want to quit tomorrow. You don't quit.
exactly.
You want to quit today.
And that's the thing, and that's so vital, particularly within this space, because if you've got someone who's going, I don't want to buy any more cigarettes. I'm going to try and switch to vaping. Maybe they've tried patches, maybe they've tried gum, whatever. They've tried cold turkey.
Yeah.
Nothing's working.
Yeah.
So then, okay, a couple of my mates have managed to stop smoking by vaping. I'm going to try it. There's a small window where they are open to this idea before they'll just go and buy another packet of cigarettes.
Yeah, that's correct.
Because they can't just put that addiction on hold.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. And that's where that's why I tried so hard to,
Yeah.
That's why I thought, look, we've got to set up a better system
Yeah,
for patients to be able to access this product
yeah,
as easy as possible, as convenient as possible, as affordable as possible as well. So
Yeah.
that's what my goal was
Yeah,
when I
right.
first set up this business.
Yeah, that's cool. And have you found that within doing that, have you sort of gained sorry, let me ask, were you a smoker or a vapor or anything like that?
No,
Or-
I've never been a smoker or never been a vapor, but
Yeah,
I've just, I was curious because, when you're walking around the city, you see all these people vaping, and then I said, look, why are people vaping? I questioned that, and then all of a sudden, I heard that the laws were going to change, and I thought, look, there must be a niche market here, and to help people actually with the quitting journey. And I think that was my biggest passion, to be able to see people transition from smoking and transition from smoking to vaping, and then improving their lifestyle, improving their their ability to support their family, and not spending majority of their income actually going and buying smokes,
Yeah, exactly.
and putting better food on the table.
Exactly.
And it's all it helps the other generation, the kids.
Yes. They're not always seeing mum and dad smoking, spending all their money on smoking,
Exactly. So
not being able to go on holidays or whatever.
exactly. Not being able to buy that nice car,
or
not being
the
able to,
Christmas presents,
Exactly,
all
so-
sorts of different stuff. And it's horrible. And again, this is the reason that is so rife and so striking in Australia is purely because of how greedy the government have got with their with their cigarette tax, and that then they have pushed away something that is blatantly and obviously the most effective way to get people to stop smoking,
Yeah,
and that's vaping. Without doubt, it is way more effective than patch, then what do you call
First line treatments.
It's way more effective.
Yeah,
Way
definitely. I mean, the UK government just released a big article, I think, about 2 weeks ago, and it actually gives the thumbs up to say, look, vaping has the most success rate of any other treatments available today.
And I guess that's what I was getting at before, is that why is it that you think, being that you're in that space, that the Australian government aren't seeing that? Like, I can understand, okay, we don't want 16-year-olds vaping or whatever. Well, okay, fine, we don't want them smoking either, but guess what? They're going to.
Try it anyway.
Of course they are. And so putting that to the side, why is it that you think that the Australian government is so hell-bent on the idea that it's a bad thing for adults to do, as opposed to smoking cigarettes?
I think it all comes down to the dollars.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
We know that smoking is the health issues that are caused by smoking is the number one most preventable issues. Like being able to prevent any future complications or health issues that mostly impact the health system.
Yeah.
And yet they don't want to do that now.
Yeah.
They just want to collect their taxes.
Yeah.
And not think long term.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's just comes down to the dollars.
All comes back to the dollars.
Yeah.
If you could wave a magic wand, let's say you became Prime Minister or whatever, which, by the way, you'd get my vote. But you could wave a magic wand or what have you. How would you like to see the vaping of nicotine model in Australia look?
Just like how you can get by smokes. I mean, probably in a bit more controlled way.
What would
issue licenses to probably
to
issue
vape
to retailers or retailers that specialize in vaping that have probably done some type of training or certification, and issuing limited numbers of licenses instead of just giving to willy-nilly
to anyone.
Probably control kind of like a pharmacy. Like only some pharmacies in different areas have like different licenses that can issue medicines on the PBS or things like that.
I guess I understand what you mean. My issue with that model is that it's giving pharmacies control and shit tons of profit over a product that they...
No, I don't mean pharmacies. Like retail stores, like vape shops and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So So not pharmacy, but I'm just saying like how pharmacies work at the moment. Like you're only allowed to give licenses or PBS licenses to...
What's PBS, sorry?
Like, how when you buy medicine and you get it for like a big discount?
Right.
So every pharmacies don't have a license to do that.
Okay.
So only a pharmacy in a certain area has a license to do that. So you can have 10 pharmacies in a 5K radius, but only one pharmacy has the license to be able to give discounts with medicines that are on the PBS.
Right.
I forgot what the PBS stands for. But
yeah, sure.
So basically, just say you got 10 vape shops, or you got 10 retailers, but you only give a license in a certain area to a vape shop or something like that to be able to dispense or sell nicotine or something like that.
Wouldn't that then give a monopoly to those that get it and a disadvantage to those that don't? Whereas at the moment...
But that's the same as a pharmacy at the moment.
Yeah, I know, but it's not the same as cigarettes.
No, but
because cigarette, I mean, it's really, really easy to get a license to sell cigarettes.
Yeah, look,
basically,
I haven't
have
really
to
thought about this. Yeah, but some type of system that gives people the training and provides licensing or things like that. And also making sure that whatever you sell is compliant with, what's in it and it's safe and things like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, certain regulations, but it sounds like what you're saying is that you would like it to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, you'd like it to be more accessible than what it is.
Yes.
But perhaps not quite as accessible as cigarettes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So would you like, therefore, to see cigarettes be less accessible than what they are?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, but I think it's the I think it's too far ahead of that. You know, I mean, there's no way we can step that back now. Whereas if we think about how we control nicotine or think about it properly and have an actual input from industry,
Yeah.
then we might have a good plan. But I'm not sure, you know, whatever I'm saying is not much sure not be the best
No,
way to
that,
go forward.
oh, yeah, that's
thinking out loud,
understandable.
yeah.
I mean, it's just an idea. You're not actually running for Prime Minister, so don't worry about it.
Pull my application out then. Mate.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to like officially announce it? Hey, do you want a whiskey with me?
Yes, but yeah, no.
Yeah. Glen Grant. It's a single malt Scotch whiskey.
Nice.
So we'll pour one of those. But I'm enjoying.
Yeah. Do you have a prescription for this whiskey?
Negative. Can you issue me with one?
See, that's the thing, you know. I mean, nicotine is it's a drug just like alcohol or anything else, you know.
And it in itself isn't really much worse than like in and of itself. It's not really much worse than caffeine.
Yeah.
You know, I guess what I'm getting at is that the issues around smoking cigarettes aren't nicotine related.
Yeah.
They're all the other chemicals related.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. Cheers.
Jesus.
Cheers. Good to see you, Kevin. Thank you. Within vaping, all of those nasty chemicals are removed, and the one that we're addicted to, that smokers are addicted to, so the only one that we're chasing
Doesn't cause cancer.
It doesn't cause cancer anyway. It's not the dangerous one. It's not what the burden on the health system is. It's why the whole idea of it being so hard to access, to be so difficult to access, is just absurd to me. But anyway, I mean, I could say that 100 times and I still wouldn't have said it enough.
Sure. Look, I think it's just an interim measure until the government really decides what the best model is or how to move forward.
Yeah.
But definitely being able to control what vaping products are out there is actually, I think, will be key as well. You know, not being able to flood the market with all this cheap Chinese imports that we know nothing about, no standards.
Yeah.
The battery could leak, you know, into the liquid.
And it does.
You know,
and this is
like
where
that.
those health concerns come in.
Exactly.
You know, do you have any idea how many people vape with nicotine in Australia?
Well, the current stat says there's about a million vapers out there. I think that's grown from about 500,000 from 12 months ago.
Yeah, so it's gone up twofold in 12 months, and that same stat is global. Like it's huge, but I don't know, but I don't think that there would be some that never used to smoke and now they vape. Okay, fine.
Yep.
But I don't know what that percentage is versus how many have switched from smoking cigarettes to vaping. Do you, like, within your, you know, if you were to just take your model and then multiply it by whatever magnitude, have you got any idea what that sort of number would look like? Or
I think the numbers would be very, very low compared to, you know, people who want to quit because... People want to transition because they want to quit genuinely. Yeah. But the uptake of smoking, of vaping is just like everything else, you know. Yeah. I mean, people want to experiment regardless of if you make it a medicine or you make it hard to access, you know, they'll be able to get it from somewhere or somehow. Exactly. And it's just like everything else. It's, you know, it starts off socially and, you know, or they're stressed and they want to try to get something that will help them with the stress. Yeah. But I think the numbers will be very, very small, and I don't think it's increased because there's all this illegal disposable market out there. Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think that has increased it. It's just purely made... It's just another way of vaping. Exactly. No different really from these people, like they grow and sell their own tobacco or what have you. I don't think that has created more people smoking cigarettes. Yep. It's just another way for them to get cigarettes if that's what they want. Yep. I mean, look, prohibition, it didn't, when was that, the 20s in the US? Whenever it was, 20s or 30s. I'm pretty sure that stats say that new people didn't start drinking
It's just that people that did drink had to now buy it illegally.
Yes.
This is the whole point of a black market,
Yeah.
you know. And they scrapped that, and rightfully so, because they soon realised, like, you're not going to stop people from doing it. You're actually better off to make it safer, and while you're at it, collect the tax.
Yeah.
And so thank you for helping forge that way. So hopefully you can sit down with our Prime Minister or our Premier or someone one day and say, hey, pull your head in. We've got to sort this out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Look, there's a lot of community groups out there doing a great job. You know, you got legalizing, I think legalizing Australia, which
Legalise vape in Australia.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got those groups, and you got you know, Dr. Colin Mendelson, who's doing an amazing job
Right.
in terms of providing the right information out there,
Yeah.
and also, you know, being able to give the right information to the government, but
Yeah.
they're not listening.
Yeah.
You know.
And this is the battle, isn't it? Is it's and it can be quite a painful battle, but you've got people such as yourself and the others that you mentioned, and many others as well.
Yeah.
You're fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
But if it's always falling on deaf ears, it must be, I'm sure, sometimes tiring and hard. You know, to be, I guess, a bit like having a toddler that just keeps wanting to put the knife in the power socket, and you're like, stop fucking doing that. It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, good on you. But on that note, which is sort of around the medicinal side of things,
Yeah.
some people might not be aware that you're also in the space of medicinal marijuana.
Yeah.
So could you maybe talk a bit about that?
That's correct. So, Matt, what we've so when we first started out with the nicotine, we envisaged that, you know, I mean, initially I was pretty interested in the cannabis space,
Yeah.
because I've seen how much it's helped people. Again, it's the same, you know, it's a second line treatment. So it's an unapproved medicine, just like nicotine is.
Right.
So unless you've tried the first line treatment, you know, no doctors are going to be able to prescribe.
What's the first line treatment for marijuana?
Depends what condition you have.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
so you have insomnia, you know.
Oh, I
would've
see what
tried,
you're
like,
saying. Sorry.
melatonin,
of
or
course,
you would have tried.
Like for myself, anxiety.
Yeah.
So unless I've tried pumping myself full of a whole lot of
Is-
drugs that they make shit tons of money on, then,
Docile, and
gotcha.
stuff like that. So unless you try those things and it's not been effective, or you've been, you know, it's your body's reacted to it, or you're not really happy with it, then you can try medicinal cannabis as a second line treatment.
Right. Okay.
So it's the same principle as the nicotine.
Yeah. Sure. And how long have you been in that space? Same sort of length of time as
No, we just started this because
Okay.
we were mainly focused on the nicotine side of things.
Yeah.
And you know, what we just done was we just replicated what we've done with the nicotine and moved on to the cannabis side.
Okay.
But I'm very passionate about medical cannabis and how it can help people.
Yeah. It's hugely beneficial and has been proven to be for a very, very long time.
Yes, it's it's amazing what I've seen in the out there. I mean, it's amazing what the patient's feedback coming back to me. I mean, it's been really incredible actually being able to help people with all this mental illness, with chronic pain, with sleeping disorders. And the numbers show for itself. So the numbers of approvals are nearly up to 200,000 since medical cannabis has been being able to be prescribed.
That's cool. How long's that been? Been like 2 years?
I think it's been longer than that.
Oh, okay.
But the number has skyrocketed.
Yeah,
because
sure.
there's so many companies out there doing telehealth.
And I guess more and more people are becoming aware that it's
yes.
actually even an option.
Yes, and especially when, you know, the price of prescription medical cannabis is probably on par or
With street.
with street value, or the black market value.
What sort of price would like an ounce be?
Depending on what grade you get and what strength you get, but I think an ounce is roughly about $300.
Fuck. I reckon that's less than last time I bought it.
So you know, and the great thing about it is you know what you're getting. You know, it's always consistent.
Exactly. So you mentioned depending on what grade. So what do you mean by that?
The grade meaning like what the component is, like as in what the makeup of the product is. So there's so many products you can get out there. It's not funny.
Right.
It's ridiculous what you can get out there nowadays. But depending on grade, depending on the form. So the form is, you know, it's either a dried herb or it's either a oil, either tablets, or it can even
edibles.
be. Yeah, there's actually gummies now, CBD gummies that you can get as well.
That interests me.
Yes.
I mean, they're great for anxiety.
Yes.
Great for anxiety, CBD. I mean, look, like everything, it's not for everyone.
Yep.
But it is for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, that's proof there that it's helped, you know, someone like you.
Yeah.
And being able to access it legally, you know, makes it easy and
Absolutely.
and you know, you're not having to worry about.
Well, this is the I can't think of the word, but like, okay, let's just say that marijuana, even with a script, was still totally illegal. Now, if the issue is that you've got anxiety and then you're walking around with something illegal in your pocket, having it in your pocket both increases the anxiety and decreases the anxiety.
Yes.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that in itself, just the fact that you can have it on you without being nervous about that helps to decrease the anxiety.
Yes, for sure.
So that's kind of like what would that
piece of
like
mind.
the cherry on top.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a peace
know.
of mind,
Yeah.
you know, being able to have your medication on you or your medicine on you.
That's right.
Without having to worry about any legal issues with the police.
Exactly. And so with the your license or your involvement with that, because with the nicotine it means that you're allowed to import it, as a liquid.
Yes.
So with the cannabis, is it that you're allowed to grow or you're allowed to be involved with grow farms?
Oh no, yeah, I'm just on the medical front, so we just help patients with the prescription side.
Right.
And then after that, we help patients with the prescription side. They can use that prescription and get it filled at their local pharmacy that may stock the products.
Okay, so you can't actually sell it.
Not yet, because
Not
we're
yet.
still in the process of actually.
Okay, but you're going for
finalising.
that license?
Yeah, so we're trying to work with a partner pharmacy to be able to provide the start to finish.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we're still working on that.
And is that going to be about the same time that you and I open a dispensary together?
I hope that's the case. I hope, you know, dispensaries.
Let's do this.
Yes, I hope dispensaries become legal, you know, just like the States
Yeah.
and a lot of
Fucking
countries.
everywhere in this.
I mean, Thailand, look at Thailand. I mean, it's, since that they've opened the doorway to legalizing cannabis, I mean, it's been amazing for the Thailand community, you know. Like,
I think it's so amazing that a country like Thailand, where they've had the death penalty for drugs for
Exactly.
a long time,
yeah, so
and now they've said, oh, actually, you can smoke weed, because it's recreational there, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
They've
so you don't
got-
need to go
exactly.
prescription,
Whereas
you just walk into a store, buy
exactly,
yourself a joint, and you're ready to go.
that's right. I mean, but am I right in thinking? Sorry to just jump.
So
back
that's not but that's not. I mean, medical side of things. It's more recreational.
No, for sure, but it's still the same product.
Exactly. Same
Yeah,
product.
yeah, and it's just
People
like,
just self-medicating.
they're
different way,
self-medicating. And what are your views on the idea of self-medicating with it?
Look, if you can help yourself live a better life by self-medicating, why not? I mean, life is about living a better life,
Exactly.
and if you can find something that will help you live a better life, make you more happy,
Yeah.
then why not?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's not been a lot of pub fights that have started from people smoking
Smoke the
dope.
joint. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's definitely for sure. I mean, no one's actually died in Australia from smoking cannabis
Yeah,
or
exactly.
taking cannabis. Whereas if you talk about alcohol, that's probably more harm.
Well, it'd be daily.
Exactly.
It'd be daily. Someone
Exactly.
would be dying either through an overdose,
Yeah.
through kidney failure,
Yeah.
through a car crash, through
Exactly. Through punch ups.
God knows, a whole raft of different things.
I mean, you just want to hug everyone when you've had,
exactly.
had a joint or something like that.
Unless it's really strong, then you just want to sit on the couch
Exactly,
and
yeah.
just stare at a movie. But either way, you're not getting into a fight.
No, for sure. That's the last thing you're thinking about.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. So what's the deal? Like if someone listening is thinking, wow, I didn't know that this was an option for me, to do with the medicinal marijuana. What is it that maybe they would make them qualify?
Yeah, look, I think, firstly, they've got to discuss it with their GP because their GP knows them the longest and knows them the most, understands their medical history, knows what medication they're taking. But it's exactly the same as nicotine, first-line treatment. Ensure that you've tried and exhausted most avenues, and then this is kind of like a second-line treatment.
Right.
But, it is an expensive second-line treatment,
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
And that's probably, I think, the biggest hurdle at the moment. With most people.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, if they are sourcing from the black market, and it's a different story again. But
I would imagine that, and this is only my assumption, but I feel like it's probably got some merit. The majority of people who have gone and got a script, medicinal script, it's probably not their first joint.
Yeah, look, I don't know the stats about that. But look, the stats just got released recently that 40% of Australians actually have tried marijuana. So, most probably it's not their first stint.
Yeah. So I guess my reason behind saying that is that, yes, this might be slightly more expensive, but you said it's probably around about 300 or so an ounce at the moment, roughly, depending on exactly the strain, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But if that's about what you're buying it from your local dealer from, in all honesty, I think that's actually a pretty good price. But don't let the government know I said that; they'll jack the price up. But if people are buying it, what am I trying to say? So let's say that I'd smoked before, and now I knew that there was a way I could do it and remove the risk. I no longer have to be worried about the cops checking me or anything like that. Surely there is that, right? Surely it's not just all people.
For sure.
Like anything, people find loopholes or what have you. My personal view on that is, if you find a loophole and it works for you, extort it. Go for it. Why not? Because if government doesn't like that, then the best thing they can do is just make it recreationally available for everyone, and then there is no loophole. They've just opened the loophole up, and now it's just a thing, which, as we're just talking about, Thailand and various other countries have done. Lots of them. The United States, not all of the states, but a lot of them have, and it won't be long before all of them do. Some of them in certain Bible Belt regions might not, but most of them will. But anyhow, lots of countries all around the world are moving towards that, and I just wonder whether or not in Australia, despite how typically conservative Australia is, if maybe they'll move towards that sooner rather than later. Two reasons I say that. One is what I've just said, the fact that other countries are, and if the loophole here is just being exploited anyway, then perhaps they will. And actually three reasons. The other one would be that they'll see the amount of tax that they could be generating. And the third one would be that if they don't do this, then are people going to look at Australia as a less desirable place to holiday if they can go to so many other countries and know that they can do that without getting into trouble for it? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it's a tough one, Matt. I mean, I think legalization, I mean, I think we're halfway there. At least there are talks about it. I mean, at least the Greens are trying to, put in the bill next year.
I think there's a bill in front of Parliament
at
right
the
now.
moment, is it? Yeah. So
Yeah, I think so.
so I think we're nearly there. I mean, we are
Yeah.
having open conversations.
Yeah.
So that's a great start already.
Exactly. Oh, look, we've come strides, but
Yeah.
yeah. And in the ACT, and it's been the case for quite a while, which is the Australian Capital Territory, which funnily enough is where all the politicians are based, you've been able to grow 2 plants there, I believe, 2 plants per, I don't know if it's per adult or per household, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's a lot more than what we can do here. And you've been able to do that for a long time.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be another reason, actually, that maybe it'll help it move towards that sooner, because it's a case of like, well, what's your reasoning, Mr. and Mrs. Government? Why is it that it's allowed in the ACT? So it's good enough for them, and they're still Australians just like us, but it's good enough for them, but not good enough for us. And I just feel like if that pressure, just that argument, was put on them more,
Yeah.
that I feel like they would either have to remove it from the ACT, which I don't want them to do, or they would have to start looking at opening it up more. But I think the biggest problem that we have here is that Australians are very apolitical. They don't get out and protest. They don't. They put up with it.
Yeah.
They just put up with it.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Oh, well, never mind. And a lot of people, including my friends, will say, well, it's not going to stop me from smoking anyway.
Yeah.
I get that. I get it won't stop you from smoking. But it's not about that, is it? It's about the fact that it's a freedom, it's a right that you should have. That's my view on it, you know. And I staunchly believe that everybody, whether you smoke or not, you should be pro recreational use, because I guarantee you know someone that smokes.
Yeah, sure.
You know, you might not know that you know,
Yeah.
but you do know them.
Yeah, well, it's the stats says that 40% of
Yeah,
people in Australia have actually tried it.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, to decriminalise it would be amazing, for the Australian public.
yeah,
Australia will be a different place.
yeah.
It would be a pretty cool place. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like it's already a pretty cool place, but it'd be even
more
cooler.
cool.
It'd be even cooler, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Surfers Paradise would become a fun place to go out again, because it's not at the moment, not with all those meatheads running around.
Yeah.
But because you said decriminalise, not legalise.
Yeah.
So what's your sort of take on those two?
I mean, I guess what I mean is probably like legalise, which kind of decriminalises it.
Yeah.
If you legalise it, then you decriminalise it. That's probably what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, fair enough. The reason I ask is that there's always been this whole thing, people saying, I think it should be decriminalised but not legalised, or vice versa. And I've always sort of said, like, I don't actually know what the difference is.
Yeah, it does.
Do you? Or is there really a difference? Because I think
There's no difference, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people over the years say, no, decriminalise means this, but legalise means this. And I'm going, no, I think you're splitting hairs. I think that decriminalising and legalising,
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying it's decriminalised. It's no longer illegal.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and legalised?
Yeah, probably when it says decriminalised, it means probably, but still the government kind of control the product, like, control the taxes or
But that
control.
that would be no different from a set of tyres for your car.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that they
don't
say.
control.
There's nothing that
Yeah.
they say. All right, everyone's got free reign on this.
Yeah.
Not one thing.
Yes, exactly. Look, they want a piece of the pie for everything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess that's what makes Australia great in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, like, like having what we have here, it's the best country in the world, I think. It is bad in some parts, but at the end of the day, I mean, the government, I think, does it for a reason. I mean,
Oh yeah, and look, we might not always agree with their
Yes,
reason, but that's one of the beautiful things about living here is that we're allowed to
say anything
we don't agree with it.
that's right.
We're questioning it,
Yeah.
and people vote. They speak with their vote,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
I would like to see people speak in other ways, a bit more, not aggressively, but a bit more kind of like well, protesting really, I
Yes.
guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Or also just ignoring stupid laws.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a lot of merit in that. So
Yeah.
basically, a bit of civil disobedience.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a law that just doesn't make sense, just ignore it.
Yeah.
Because if everyone does, nothing they can do about it.
Yes, for sure.
And I'm don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say, all right, everyone just go and get
Right.
blazed
Yeah.
or whatever. I'm just saying that there are different ways to accomplish different things.
Yeah.
But obviously, the way that you are helping to accomplish this particular
Yeah, I'm just
this
trying to make
particular
it,
topic,
you know,
I think is really
I'm
wonderful.
just trying to help people access it
Yeah,
more easier and better. You know, it's
Yeah.
just, that's my end goal. Like
yeah,
being able to reduce that hurdle to actually
yeah.
help people.
So what led you to that? You'd started within the nicotine prescription model,
Yeah.
and then a little bit of time went past, and you saw how did that light bulb go off?
I think I've always been interested in medicinal cannabis.
Yes.
I think that was probably, you know, I wanted to do that first, but then I think because of the law changes, you know, so when the law changes for the nicotine, I think, you know, I thought I had to focus my energy and effort into that space first.
Right. Okay. I get that that's where you want to
Yeah.
focus your energy first, but what made you then say, like, okay, let's now go into medicinal
Yeah, because
marijuana?
we had all the systems set up and
Okay.
everything was, you know, running pretty smoothly. So we thought, hey, it's time that.
So the time was right.
Yeah, timing is right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and especially now, you know, I mean, like this, it's really hard to actually book yourself into a clinic.
Yeah,
There's a lot of waiting times, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like a week, 2 weeks in advance.
exactly. So there's obviously a lot of
Demand,
people taking up
There's a big demand
this
for it.
option,
Yes.
which is great, and because at least that way, even if it's still 5, 6, 7 years away before it became recreational, if ever,
Yeah.
at least all of those people can enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
At least somewhat freely. I don't know how free is it? Like, can you walk down the street and smoke?
I'm not sure. I haven't really looked at the legal requirements for that, but yeah, look, I'm not sure. I mean, we
Right.
know, of course, we know that you can't smoke it and drive, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
exactly.
have any THC in your
Yeah.
body. CBD is perfectly fine because
Yeah.
there's no psychoactive.
It's just a
components.
relaxant.
Exactly. So, you know, we just got to be careful with that.
Yeah,
You know, if you've got THC in your body,
Yeah.
then there could be potential fines.
yeah,
But we know that we know that there's a lot of organisations trying to change that
hmm
because, you know, you're allowed to have, you know, a certain amount of alcohol.
yes,
But then why aren't you allowed to have a certain amount
Exactly.
of THC in your body
exactly.
as long as it doesn't impair,
Mm.
you know, your driving?
And this is where I wonder if they're going to need to figure out another way of testing, because at the moment correct me if I'm wrong, but it's something like THC stays in your system for about 11 days. I don't care how good your shit was, no one's stoned for 11 days.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So this is a thing that's really unfair. Whereas like heroin or whatever only stays in your system for, I don't know, like 12 hours or something, you know. But so someone could enjoy a joint. It's Friday right now, so we could enjoy a joint now. Back at work on Monday, there is no way that we're still actually affected by it. But according to the way that it's currently tested, it would still show in our system.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you work in the mines or in government or
Yes.
many different industries and different companies that have a zero tolerance policy, you could lose your job, and it could go further. You could get arrested, whatever. Yeah, you could also have the script in your pocket saying that you're allowed to have it.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like they really need to figure that out
Yeah.
quite quickly.
Yeah.
Likewise with the you get pulled over for alcohol breath tests, they figured out how to do that so they could see whether or not you had had too much alcohol or you'd had you'd had some alcohol, but not too much.
Yeah, that's right.
So that they need to figure that out. And
Yeah.
I think they're going to need to get onto that pretty quick, because it'll start to become a problem.
Yeah.
If people are saying, I've got this script that I got from Kevin, and I'm allowed to have this marijuana, and I'm not currently stoned, but they've got no way of actually proving that they're not. But then likewise, I would argue that that test has no way of proving that they currently are.
Yep. Yep.
So it then becomes a bit of hearsay, and that's where I would think just throw it out of court, get rid of it.
Yeah, look, it's going to be tough, but there is a lot of research going into this space. There's a lot of organisations out there putting a lot of resources into finding, the right levels of being able to drive, and comparing it to 0.5 blood alcohol content and stuff like that. So there's a lot of research, and I think soon we will be able to, I think sooner or later we'll be able to drive with a certain amount of THC in the body.
Yeah.
Without affecting the way you're driving.
Sure.
Yeah.
So there is research going into what I was talking about.
Exactly.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. And it's important, because if you're going to have it legal within certain boundaries, then those boundaries need to be clearly defined.
Yeah. Well, it's just the same as taking other medicines that may affect your
that's right.
your impairment,
Exactly.
being able to drive. So
Yeah.
those things are legal. Because there's no tests for that.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, you can get loaded up on Valium, and
you can still drive it.
you can technically, well, in terms of
Depends. Yeah, there's no test to say.
there's no test. Yeah. I mean, you get loaded up on Valium, you most certainly can't drive, but you can in terms of legally.
Yeah.
So they need to figure it out. But I guess this is also where it's a case of that. Pharmaceutical companies have had a particularly Big Pharma have had a pretty free reign for a long time, and I'm sure this is through a lot of lobbying, a lot of brown envelopes being passed around, all of that sort of stuff, a lot of nice champagne lunches, and now maybe it's time that all of that gets tidied up a little bit, and there isn't so much freedom of those big pharmaceutical companies to say, hey, just prescribe this as much as you want, and it's fine. And yet we know it's fine. You look at the opioid epidemic in America. It's just insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. I think it was 100,000 people last year that died from overdoses I think that's right. It could be more that died from overdoses from legally prescribed drugs.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And how many died from overdose on marijuana? Zero.
Yeah.
Else within in Australia is the marijuana grown. Like let's say I got a script from you, and then I went to whatever pharmacy or however that looks. Where is that weed coming from?
So a lot of it is all imported from overseas. So majority is probably from Canada, Israel, some from the States.
So not here.
No, so probably I reckon probably over 90% is imported, and the rest is grown in Australia, because it's just uneconomically viable to be grown and sold in Australia at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, because startup costs so much as well.
Yeah, right. And I guess different red tape.
Yeah, so a lot of red tape, a lot of licensing fees, and it takes years to get the approval as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are there literally just like shipping containers of bud coming in?
Yes.
Fuck.
In packages, in finished products. So yeah, finished. Most of them comes in 10 grams.
Okay.
Which is one third of an ounce roughly.
Yeah.
And you can get 1 ounce as well, but majority of it is coming from overseas in shipping containers.
Wow.
Or air freight.
Right.
But mostly probably air freight, because it's probably quicker and better.
People like Pablo Escobar and stuff will be pissed off, man.
Probably some of them would be probably dropped from airplanes, the black market stuff, into the water.
Drop one over here. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I assumed that it would have I don't know what I assumed. I think I assumed that it would have all been grown here, or at least the vast majority.
No, definitely not. Not
Wow.
yet anyway. So
Right.
hopefully we'll soon probably see more and more products coming from
Australia.
grown in Australia.
Yeah. Although they'll go up in price too because of our labour costs and stuff.
Yeah,
like
but the
that.
thing is they have to be competitive with the import products. So
Yeah,
you know
true.
they've got to make sure that it is consistent and affordable
Yeah.
in a way that competes with all the imports. But I mean, eventually, hopefully, Australia will just
Sure.
provide most of the products
Yeah,
themselves.
sure. I wonder if it got to the point of it being, if it did get to the point of being recreational, that therefore there'd be a massively bigger demand for it, if that might therefore
Sure.
make it more financially viable.
Yeah, but there still be a standard that we have to follow. So
Sure.
for any importer or anything to be grown in Australia, it's got to meet certain standards, and that way we know it's what we're getting is what it is,
Yeah.
instead of getting a lot of this sort of fake products that say it's CBD but it's just hemp oil and
Yeah.
things like that. So
You mentioned about that briefly in the break. So what do you mean by that? Because I'm familiar with THC and CBD,
Yeah.
and my understanding is that basically THC is the part that makes you high, and CBD is the part that makes you relaxed. Basically, that's sort of how I view it in a very, very layman's term.
yeah.
But so then hemp, which I always just thought was another name for the plant.
Yeah.
Is it not?
So there's a couple of reasons why companies call it hemp. So firstly, most companies, would be selling CBD, but they change it to hemp so that they can import it into Australia
Okay.
or be able to sell it legally within Australia
Right.
and be able to advertise it. Because I think if it's hemp, then it's not considered a medicinal product. So therefore, they are able to advertise on any platform and not
There's
get
a
done.
loophole for you.
Yeah, but the TJ will catch on to you.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, they're pretty good at that. And so yeah, you just got to be careful what products you get out there.
Yeah.
Making sure that you check the reviews,
Yeah.
ensure that what you're paying is what you're getting, making
Yeah.
sure you're paying a fair price for it, not getting ripped off.
So is it that there's any problem with having hemp, or is it just
Well,
that it's pointless?
Yeah, well, if it's just hemp, there's no. If it's just the real hemp, then there's no CBD in it or cannabinoids or
Right.
stuff like that. So there's no.
Placebo.
There's no medical benefits, I guess, in a
Gotcha.
way.
Yeah.
So you just got to be careful. There's a good Facebook group called CBD Reviews Australia. You can join that, or you can go and Canna Reviews.
Canna Reviews, I know. So CBD
Reviews Australia.
Australia.
Yep.
Okay. Facebook group. I assume.
Facebook group. Yeah. So it's run by a local
We'll check
guy
Okay.
in Brisbane here,
Yeah. Cool.
but it's got a big following, and he's started this up from the ground up, and he's got a big following.
Nice.
You can even download a Excel worksheet that tells you all the fake stuff in Australia. So
Wow.
he'll give you, if you just go on his website and put in
Wow.
your details. And
What do you mean by the fake stuff?
so he'll give you reviews of all the websites and what they're selling, if it's dodgy, and
Wow.
then if it's the real product, and things like that.
That's great.
So there's heaps. It's a big list that he's got there. So he's done an amazing job. And if before you buy stuff, always make sure you check him out to make sure you're not getting
Yeah.
ripped off.
It's changed a lot from my day.
Yes, exactly. I mean, information is power, and
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
In my day, you just went. You knew the guy that had the good shit and the guy that had the bad shit.
yeah. Well, this is why he started. He started it because, he got it for his. I think it was his dog or something like that.
Is that right?
Yeah. So the first batch he got was really great because his dog was having seizures and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the first batch he got from the dealer was great.
Yeah.
And I think the second batch, was dodgy, and
Right.
and he got really pissed off, and he started this just to help people like him,
Yeah.
making sure that they are not getting ripped off
Yeah.
from the dealers.
That's cool. Good on him for doing that.
Yeah.
Is he involved in the same way that you are?
No, he's not at all. He's only started this to making sure to help people.
Just
That's it.
information.
Yeah, he's not getting paid for
All
it.
power to him.
Yeah,
Good
he's
on him.
he's an amazing guy, and
Yeah, good on him.
oh, hats off to him.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you did mention to me earlier, if you're happy to share it, then please do. There was a story involving Las Vegas. Do you
Oh,
feel
look,
that-
my first experience was in Las Vegas with cannabis. I mean, when you're in Las Vegas, you got to try everything in Las Vegas, right?
what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, baby.
But that's not the reason why I'm in this field. But it was just an experience, being able to walk around Las Vegas and see different dispensaries and being able just to walk into a dispensary and
Mm-mm.
choosing millions of products that's out there.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. It's amazing what the industry. It's bringing a lot of tourism. It's bringing a lot of money to the American government because
Huge
a lot of
amounts.
it's massive. And it's all controlled and
Yeah.
it's all properly done and it's well done to them.
Yeah.
So
I've never had the benefit of going into a dispensary. I've got a lot of friends in the US, and some of them will be watching this, I'm sure. And they, it's their favourite shop. It's their new little local hardware shop, so to speak. But it looks like, I've seen images and what have you, like a bloody candy store sort of thing. Like you got jars of all the different strains and all the different,
flavors and stuff like that.
Was it sativa and what's
Indica.
Indica?
Yeah.
Sativa's the one that's more like alert.
A daytime one. So that's
Daytime,
more
yeah.
daytime. Yeah. So that's
And is that a case of that sativa has more THC and indica?
no,
has
it's
more
not.
CBD?
Not
Is
to
it
do
anything
with
like
this.
that?
No, it's not to do the THC component. It's more. I mean, it's more like the makeup of it.
Okay.
So it's more like the THC will still be the same amount of THC, like depending on what you're getting, but some strands have different, indica dominant or sativa dominant,
Yeah.
or you can get a balanced one, or you can get hybrid ones. It's just
Right.
so many products out there at the moment. It's not funny.
And what sort of strength can you get legally within THC?
So in Australia, I think, I think it starts off. What I've seen is, look, there's hundreds of products out there, but what I've seen out there is, you can get from 17% to probably about 30%
Okay.
THC.
Yeah. That'd be pretty strong.
Yeah, look, it's. Yeah, I mean, especially if you put in a vaporizer as well.
Yeah,
So, gone are the days that you roll a joint and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's more like, you...
It's all
crush
gone.
it.
It's all
Yeah.
gone digital.
Yes, exactly, like everything else. But, and that way you're not using as much, you're getting the effects quicker.
Mm-hmm.
You're not stinking out the house.
Yeah.
And the dosing is more accurate as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So, it's important, to use a vaporizer
Yeah.
for your dried flowers and stuff like that.
So, do you recommend to your customers that they use that? Well, and sorry, I know that you're not actually selling them the bud. I get that, but nonetheless, they at least somewhat start as your customer.
Yeah.
If they were to ask you about it, do you recommend that they use a cone, a bong, a joint, whatever, or a dry herb?
Yeah. So if you're talking about buds and flowers, definitely you're using a vaporizer.
Yeah.
That way, you ensure you're getting the best effect for your money and also the best bang for your buck.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And it's cleaner.
Yes,
right?
definitely
Because
cleaner.
there is no smoke.
Yes,
It's just
vapor.
being vaporized.
Exactly.
And, And I've heard, but I don't know if this is true, that it's you use less of your product too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you
Right.
use probably 10% of your product.
10% less or
Yeah.
90% less?
Oh, 90% less. Yeah.
Oh,
but
wow.
Yeah. So
Shit.
I think So it really depends what machine you use as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But you can get so many different machines out there.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you're really looking for, a good machine, get something good, pay good money for it at the beginning. That way, you're not going to last you a while. And,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what's the deal with oils?
Yep.
So, like CBD or THC oils, whether they be to like drop on your tongue,
Yep.
or I know that there are ones that people vape. They,
Yes.
they put it into a vaporizer like this. Now, I don't know whether those are legal or not, but I know that they do exist.
Yeah, so you can get carts, so
Yeah.
vape carts as well. So
Cartridges.
cartridges, yeah. So that's more like a thick. It's a thick.
It's oil. Thick
Yeah, but
oil.
it's really thick. It's there's a name for it. It's like, yeah, I forgot the name for it. But yeah,
I've seen it. It's thick like honey.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what it's called. Yeah, but look, yeah, I forgot what it's called. But that's another alternative too from
Yeah.
doing dry herbs. So the great thing about those carts is that they're ready to go anytime.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about preparing for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same principle as vaporizing the herb, but
Yeah.
in a different form.
Yeah.
And sometimes it will last longer as well because
Okay.
it's more concentrated.
Like the high will or the product will?
Oh, the product will last longer. Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, different forms of cannabis gives you different effects because if you're taking oil, it goes through a different system. Instead, it's more like a body high rather.
Okay.
Then,
rather than a head high.
Yeah, so it's different effects for different things, and it affects different people.
So would you prescribe people a different thing based on what their needs were?
Yeah, look, that's really depends. What the Yeah, exactly. So depending what their situation is, what their kind of budget is,
Yeah.
what indications they have,
Yeah.
and what they feel comfortable with. Some people don't want to vape or
Yeah.
smoke, or
Yeah.
they want to just drop something in there underneath their tongue
Yeah.
and let it absorb.
Yeah.
With that, it takes longer for the body to get an effect
Yeah.
because it's going through the liver
Right. Right.
or the stomach and stuff
Right.
like that. So it's different effect. But
Okay.
if you're vaporizing and then it hits you straight away,
Yeah.
but then it doesn't last as long as a oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And for people like myself who are chasing more of the CBD, but maybe not against the idea of a bit of the THC,
Yeah.
is there an option where it's like say a 90% CBD, a 10%?
Yeah, look, there's so many
something
products
like
out
that?
there. It's really hard for doctors actually prescribe products because there's thousands of products. So it really depends, what patients are looking for and what the doctor's comfortable prescribing, and
Yeah.
if they know the product's actually working well
Sure.
with other patients. But yeah, you can get CBD dominant products, which are just purely CBD.
Actually, yes. That reminds me. You mentioned that there is. This was a little while ago when we were chatting, like a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
that there was a herb, a flower, where the THC's been removed.
Yes, there's a
So
dry
it's
flower
just
that's
CBD.
just
So
CBD.
you smoke it like you would any
Yes,
other weed,
exactly. Yeah,
but the THC's been
yeah.
removed.
There's no psycho.
I've got to try that. I've
Yeah.
got to try that.
There's no
So you still need a script for that.
Yes, of course, yeah. And look, even CBD alone, you still need a script.
That's interesting though, because it in itself, you can't get high.
Yeah, but because it's an unapproved
Medicine.
medicine in Australia,
Right.
so it's going through a approval process through the TGA.
Right.
The reason why kind of the TGA has kind of done this as well, so that they can track how many people are, track how many people are getting prescribed and what
Yeah.
type of categories. So
Yeah.
with cannabis, there's 5 different types of categories.
Okay.
So depending on the strand, the makeup of the cannabis product, then there's different categories.
Yeah.
So for example, category 1 would be just CBD only,
Yeah.
and whereas category 5 would be THC dominant, which is be over 98%.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'd be less than 2% CBD or something like that.
Right. So that's crazy high.
Yeah, so it's not 98% THC.
Oh, I see.
It's 90% compared to CBD, the
Gotcha.
ratios.
Yeah. I'm with you. I was thinking 98%
No.
THC. Holy shit! You're going to the moon.
Yes. So it really
That
depends.
would be crazy. I wonder, and this is just me speculating, but we were talking before about the disposable vapes like these ones, nicotine, come out of China, dodgy as all shit, but they're everywhere. Now we know that Thailand, you can now vape, or you can now have marijuana, CBD, THC, whatever. I wonder how long it'll be before they start making disposable THC vapes, and then the black market starts importing those here.
It's probably there already.
Yeah.
It's probably there in Thailand.
It's probably there.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it's not here yet. But if it exists, it will come here.
Black market stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it will.
Yeah.
And this is another reason why the government here need to be ahead of the game, but not ahead of it in terms of trying to make shit illegal, ahead of it in terms of making it legal to eliminate black market. Like, I don't know how we can have so many politicians that are so stupid. It's dumbfounding to me. We can have so many politicians who think that they can stop a black market. It's impossible. No country has ever done it. You can't stop a black market. But if there's countries that produce things cheap, like Thailand, who have said, you can now have marijuana, one of them will make it into a vape like these.
Yeah.
And
export it.
And, well, look at how many bogans go over to Thailand every day.
Yeah.
They'll buy up boxes and boxes and boxes of it and ship them back.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, the border force, or whatever you want to call it, would have zero idea about it. They'll bring in millions of dollars worth before they've got any idea that it's happening.
So THC is a Schedule 8 drug at the moment. So for you to import a Schedule 8 drug would be big trouble compared to like a Schedule 4 drug, which is a nicotine or a CBD only vape. But I mean,
but drug dealers don't care about that. Like that's kind of irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like the only people that care about that are the people that abide by the law.
Well, you can already get THC vapes in Australia right now.
I know you can, but I mean in terms of, like, you can get cartridges, right, that you screw onto a vape.
Yeah,
like
black
that,
market,
black market. But I mean like a disposable one like this. But instead of having
disposable one.
Like this, but instead of having nicotine in it, it's got THC, CBD.
Well, that's a massive market in America. So a lot of them are disposables.
Yeah, right. So they're going to be coming here.
Yeah,
they're going to be coming here.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay. There you go. See, I didn't know. I was talking hypothetical. And you're like,
it's probably here already.
No, man. You're like, I got some, bro. No, I'm kidding.
It's probably here already, I reckon. But in Australia, it's massive, like the disposable THC vapes.
And the illegal tobacco trade in Australia, nothing to do with vaping, actual illegal tobacco trade is insane.
Yeah.
It is insane, the amount of chop, as it's called here. It blew my mind when I found out about it. Shops selling illegally imported cigarettes and tobacco, and like sort of homegrown style tobacco. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, it's humongous. I mean,
but again, if the government hadn't tried to be so greedy, they brought it on themselves. No one to blame but themselves. No one to blame but themselves.
Yeah.
Well, look, Kevin, thank you so much for coming in. Did you enjoy your little glass of Glen Grant?
Yes, it's very nice. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the invite. Thanks.
Thank you for being here. Greatly appreciated it. It's been a really good insight to learn about the nicotine prescription stuff, the medicinal marijuana stuff, how that journey has been, and I would absolutely love to have you back on if you'd like to.
Sure.
I'm sure that there's still a lot more that we can all learn, and as this industry, which is ever changing, as it continues to grow and to change, I'm sure that you'll have even more and more and more that you can tell us about.
Sure.
But in the meantime, I'm going to have to give you another phone call and organise myself one of those scripts.
Not a problem. Look, in the space, it's very exciting. What's happening with the nicotine and the cannabis. I mean, I'm happy to be part of it, and I think we're going to be in a pretty good position in the future.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we can have a proper dispensary here one day. That'll be amazing.
I'm all for it. Exactly. I'm here for it.
Exactly. But just one on last night. Just seek medical help if you need it. Like from a health professional.
Yeah.
Go to your local GP, discuss, any issues or health concerns you may have.
Sure.
Any information we're given here is all just information only.
Yes.
Hopefully, what we've done here is to help you, provide you a better alternative
Yeah.
as a second line treatment.
Yes.
And get a better life.
Exactly.
That's what it's about.
That's right.
Yeah.
Before we get too serious,
Cheers.
let's better have one more cheers.
Okay,
And
cheers.
thank you again so much. Greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you very soon.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Guys. Cheers.